So what does it mean?
It means that there is manipulation of information. It means that people are given exposure and credentials that they haven't earned. You know, some people have said, I obviously have to be a disinformation expert because I'm getting press coverage. I can show you all of the effort that I took to get exposure and for people to vet my story. And I'm simply getting exposure.
What do you say to those people who would call you a disinformation agent who has been putting out information to confuse people or to misdirect people, people that might even leave comments in the video section below and say, she's actually a World Bank agent provocateur? How do you address that question?
What I say is that if you look at what it is, don't look at me, don't criticize me, look at what I'm saying, see if I have anything to back it up, if I have documentation for it. But one of the other criticisms I get is that I couldn't be alive. If I were for real, I wouldn't have made it this far. And the answer that I have to that is I say, I have always been working in a team of whistleblowers. If something happened to me, it was just going to blow up what I was trying to uncover, because I was talking about a cover-up of corruption. I didn't have a document, any one document I needed to reveal. I was pointing to a whole system of cover-up. I was pointing to the fact that the media was not telling the story the way it deserved to be told. They had an agenda. They had a hidden, secret agenda. As I've said, the whistleblowers are like Toto in The Wizard of Oz, pulling the curtain back. And people are now seeing the wizard, which is this corrupt group. And they're also seeing that the mainstream media is projecting onto a screen their propaganda, which is not reality. What you get in the mainstream media has a hidden, secret agenda. It wouldn't be there if people whose interests are behind that cabal is what they're called.
So on the internet now, anyone can publish any documents, anyone can publish any website to establish a historical record. How do we know the information that you've been receiving is actually authentic? I mean, the birth certificate of the President of the United States has been in question for so many years. Even when that was released, the most recent official one was released, they found multiple layers in the birth certificate. So what's to say that information that you've been receiving hasn't been doctored by another agency or another entity to provide you with information that could misdirect? Because if they see perhaps that you're out there speaking these things, that people are going to believe you because of what you say, but they may be feeding you wrong information. Is there any possibility that could be true?
Well, as for the storyline that I have, I can give a very detailed chronology showing at any given stage what I was revealing, who I was revealing it to. It's very compelling. That's not something that can be doctored. That is absolutely, it's just, it's there for anybody to read. And so that's, if anybody is saying, am I for real? Yeah, I'm for real. Now, am I doing a good enough job on the information that I'm getting from other whistleblowers? Sometimes I'm doing a lousy job. So I got snookered on a story about a planet that was Nibiru. I got really snookered. And what was really interesting there, I learned a lot, was I tried to correct the information. And every time I corrected the information, it was taken down from the internet. So I learned that you have to be really a little careful about information and vetting it.
Well, certainly practicing discernment in everything we do is something that must be practiced, especially when we're handed documentation that can make certain claims, and of course vetting the documents themselves. So back to the topic at hand, and the global cabal of puppet masters who are pulling the strings of the international elite and the banksters. I had mentioned the Illuminati and the Masons, and I mentioned the the Order of the Garter, and these super secret organizations. But you take it all back to the Vatican. You take it all right back to those this species of people. If I could provide a little bit of historical perspective for a moment, when the Illuminati was supposedly disbanded, some people believe that it just didn't disappear. It went underground, and it simply spread itself out. Would you say that the same is happening with this species of you know, I would say, you say they're not human, but for lack of better words, I'll say they're a species of humans. Do you think that these individuals have peppered themselves through some of these organizations as well?
What I know is...
Or is it isolated simply to the Vatican?
What I know is that when you get to be a 33rd degree Mason, and the Black Pope, and also the archaeologists, they all know that Moses was Akhenaten. And if you know that, then you know that Akhenaten had this huge skull, and his daughters had this huge skull. So I'm going to presume that they probably also know that there are individuals, and they're not humans. They do not have the same kind of DNA that we do. And I can tell you what I know about them. They're very mathematical. Their average intelligence is about 150. And they do not have creativity. They're not emotional. And the other thing is that in the process of working with all of these whistleblowers, I've learned a lot about the strengths of Homo sapiens, because you know, we're not giving each other salaries, we're not giving each other honors, we're not giving each other anything other than additional hard work. But we also know who we're working for. We're working for all of humanity.
So I have to ask this question, because some of the viewers who are watching right now are going, they're talking about another species with an elongated skull. You mentioned the high intelligence, the lack of creativity, and it's going to be hard for people to grasp that reality. And of course, everyone has to do their own homework to discover these things. But given your whistleblower status with the World Bank, do you think that by promoting or discussing these types of theories hurts your credibility and all in the minds of some of the people who may have first heard of you through the whistleblower status at the World Bank?
I'll tell you what, I've gotten a fair amount of feedback like that. And I'll tell you what I say to these people. I say that it has been an incredible experience to have made it this far. And the number one thing that I've learned in that process is to trust my own intuition, because that has really served me very well. And my intuition is telling me that this is the time to tell people this.
Well, Karen, thanks for taking the time. I wanted to ask you some tough questions and have you here to discuss some of these hard facts, and I thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Gary Franchi signing off for the Next News Network. That was Karen Hudes. She's a World Bank whistleblower. Karen, what's the website?
My website is www.kahudes.net, but just Google me and you'll find all kinds of stuff.
All right, you heard it here. Google Karen Hudes. You'll find out more. As always, research the facts for yourself. Discover. Discovery on your own is always going to be the best. And like Karen says, listen to your intuition.